This is the power of yet. You may not get the problem, don't spend hours in stress. No, it's all about the process. Steady make progress, remain optimistic. I don't get it, well, not yet. Life is a journey, not a destination. Every teacher, every leader needs this in education. Tempted to say can't have the courage to add yet. A growth mindset, the staff and the class met. You see, there's a difference between not knowing and not knowing yet. That three-letter word yet is very powerful if you think about it. I can't do this yet. Perseverance is paramount. This is the power of yet. Don't you settle for less. If you just give your best, then you will have success. This is the power of yet. Don't you settle for less. If you just give your best, then you will have.
All right. Again, the power of yet. Don't settle for less. And today I want to start out, and normally, we don't start out this way, and normally I don't talk about the successes that I have had in the past as far as students, particular students. But I want to start out today by giving you a report. There's a couple of my former students. They sent me a message on Facebook. They are adults now, okay? And so they sent me this message on Facebook because they've been watching my videos. They've been watching the videos that I put out. And so this is an exchange that I had between these students. Daisy, she sent me a message. She was talking about how she enjoyed the video. And then this is what I sent back to her, Janet. I sent this back to her because this is Eric Wortham. Look at you, looking grown and taking care of your business. That's lady power there. LOL, Jepheria, your buddy. And so Jepheria, she sent it back, LOL. And then Deja sent back, LOL. Thank you, Coach Eric Wortham, for everything you've done for me in Jepheria Green. We graduated high school because of you and your courage. You never gave up on us. You never gave up on us. These are two students. Now remember, I told you that the national numbers for those students, because those students, were considered EBD, and they were in my self-contained class until they worked themselves out. The numbers for those students across the nation is only 20% of them will finish high school. Only 20%. But my numbers were more like in the 80% of my students graduated. 80%. And that's just two examples right there. Those were two friends that came up in the same classroom, and they graduated because, they believed in the things that I was teaching them. All right? And so, with that said, and that's just a little praise report for, people. When I tell people that, they don't understand what I'm saying as far as the numbers. Only 20% of these people, these students actually graduate from high school, and that's because of the behavior problems, and nobody, takes the time to try to find out why they're acting the way they act. Nobody takes the time out to show them, love. One of these young ladies saw her dad killed in front of her. Yeah, shot right in the head in front of her. Okay? And so you got to have empathy for stuff like that, man. That's traumatic.
That is traumatic.
to be able to see that happen right in front of you. So I had to help her learn how to work through those things. You know, that's why she was in that classroom, because she was having a tough time with her behavior. And you can see why. You know, she suffered a traumatic situation. But she did. She went on, she got out of my class, and she went on to high school, and she graduated this past year. Okay? And so, today, this is what we're going to talk about. I need you guys to pay attention. This is what we're going to talk about. Janet, LaKayla, Nathaniel. This is what we're going to talk about. What is preventing you from being great? What is preventing you from being great? Okay, I want you to keep that in mind. What is preventing you from being great? All right? I want y'all to think about that. Now, this is what we have to do, Nathaniel. This is what we have to do. We have to keep in mind the how, H-O-W. Okay, as you're thinking about what's preventing you from being great, think about this how. And the word how is spelled H-O-W. The H stands for you have to be honest. You have to be honest. Okay? You have to be honest with yourself. And what I mean by that, Janet and LaKayla, a lot of people don't want to be honest about where they are. Okay? Some of us have some bad attitudes, and we don't want to admit it. We think there's something that's wrong with everybody else, and we're fine. But people that assess themselves, they're honest. And they look in the mirror and they say, hey man, I got to change. There's some things going on with me and I have to change. So that's the H in how. We have to be honest. The O means that we have to be open to receive. Okay, because there are people like me. I'm here to help you guys to learn how to get better. And I've shown you, I've helped students through the years. A lot of my students have graduated from high school that a lot of people didn't think would graduate. But it's because they were this. They were open to receive what I was teaching them. I was trying to help them to believe in themselves. Help them to believe that they have in them what it takes to be successful. And they bought into it. Okay? So you have to be open. That's the O. And the W means that you have to be willing to try. You have to be willing to try, because sometimes I'm gonna offer you some strategies. I'm gonna offer you some solutions to the things that you're going through. And when I offer those solutions, you have to be willing to try those things that we talk about. Okay? And if you're not willing to do that, you're not going to reach the level of success that you desire. I believe everybody in here can be successful. Might be in different areas, but I believe everybody in here can be successful. I believe everybody in here have a special gift that they can do better than most people. Everybody got a special gift. You may have to find out what it is. And again, you have to work that how to find out what that gift is that you have in you. Okay? And then once we find out what it is, it's just a matter of us working hard, developing that growth mindset to get us to be where we need to be. Now, let's go back to the question. What's preventing you from being great? Okay, I want to hear from a couple of y'all. Tell me, what is it that you think is preventing you from being great? Yes?
Sometimes when I don't take my medicine.
Okay, so sometimes it's when you don't take your medicine. Okay, is because when you don't take your medicine, it don't allow you to calm down enough to where you can focus, right? Okay, that's an honest statement right there. But so what is the solution to that? What can we do about that?
Remind my mom.
Okay, right? You can remind your mom, or you can tell your mom to kind of like help you develop a schedule, you know, where you can have like a calendar. Okay, okay. So you can make sure that you go and looking at that calendar, so you can make sure you tell her that you need to take your medicine. So that's a great point, man. I like that honesty. That's what I'm saying. You have to be willing to work the how. The H is we got to be honest. Okay, and he was really honest, and I like that. You got to be honest. That's the H in how. Okay, somebody else. What is preventing you from being great? Yep. Nothing. Okay, I agree with that. I agree with that. What has prevented you so far?
Nothing.
Okay, so you think you have the level of greatness already?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. And you don't think you have nothing to work on?
No.
Yeah, well, yeah, well, we'll talk about that later, but yes, we have things to work on. Okay, remember we talked about a guy named Kobe Bryant. Who? Did you remember Kobe Bryant? You know who Kobe Bryant was?
Yes.
Okay. Now, why do you think Kobe Bryant was the best in the league for at least 5 years? Why do you think he worked so hard even though he was already the best?
Just show the people that made fun and teachers and said he's not worthy anything and prove them wrong.
Right. Well, what Kobe was doing was in his mind, he had to think that he could still get better. He had to think that he would still get better. Because I'm going to tell y'all this story. I've told a lot of people this story a lot of times. 2 players. One was Derek Favors, played at South Atlanta High School. Okay. Another one was, and I can't say Kawan's last name because I don't know if he's still getting in some trouble. But Kawan. Derek Favors was, you know, he came up through the ranks and he got ranked the #1 basketball player in the country. You know, not only in the state of Georgia, but he was the #1 player in the country. All right, and Derek went on to be the #3 draft pick. 2010, he was the #3 draft pick in the NBA draft, and he's now playing with the Utah Jazz. Okay? So he took advantage of the fact they made him #1. But when you go to Derek and you congratulate him like I did, I went to him and I said, hey, congratulations, man. They ranked you the #1 player in the country. And Derek was like, Coach, I don't pay no attention to that stuff. I know I'm not the #1 player in the country. That was his mindset. And he kept working hard, harder than everybody. You know, everybody, they wanted him to transfer to Oak Hill Academy out in Virginia. They wanted him to transfer down to these academies because in high school, to go to an academy is almost like being in college. You know, so they wanted him to go to those academies, but Derek said, no, I'm going to stay right here at little old South Atlanta High School, and I'm going to win a state title here. And he did. And he ended up going to Georgia State, didn't stay but 1 year, and then got drafted. Kawan, another kid, come to us, he's in the 6th grade. But they asked me to play him with my 8th graders. You know, and I was concerned at first because I know when it comes to AAU, you know, the type of teams that we had, Atlanta Celtics, Georgia Stars, they have some of the best players in the country. And so I was concerned that a 6th grader might not be able to keep up with 8th graders. And so they brought this kid in, and this kid was like 6'5" already, and he was built like a man. And he come in and we start doing our drills, and I see, you know, some of the amazing things he was doing, and I was like, oh yeah, we can do something with him. Well, anyway, Kawan was ranked the #1 player in the country when he got in the 8th grade. #1 player in the country. But Kawan, unlike Derek, he bought into it. He bought into it. He started getting to the point where he didn't listen to coaches. He would curse coaches out. He wouldn't listen to people that's trying to instruct him. He got invited to the Nike camp, LeBron camp. and he ended up getting sent home. He got invited to the Adidas camp, and he ended up getting sent home. Okay? The moral of the story, though, is by the time he was a senior in high school, nobody even remembered who he was. And coaches had to kind of like beg college coaches to come look at him and give him a chance. So he go from the #1 player in the 8th grade to not even being noticed. Whereas Derek took that #1 ranking and say, no, I'm not going to buy into that, and kept working. So that's the problem sometimes when we think we've already arrived and we think we've already made it, we don't leave room for improvement. Okay? Because if I'm already the best, if I'm already great, okay, if I'm already at the top, then there's nowhere for me to go. And so that's why Kobe Bryant always took the mindset that I'm not the best. Okay, I still have to keep working so I can be the best. And that's the mindset that we have to take. Okay? So, the things that are preventing us from being great, commendable. You said it's the medicine. Sometimes you forget to take it, and because you forget to take it, it causes you to be off balance a little bit. Some people have disabilities that keep them from being great. Okay, some people have issues. My one student, her attitude, because she couldn't behave in a regular classroom. Okay, and we had to get to the bottom of it because she had some trauma. And so now we had to teach her some strategies. But everybody have some things that can prevent them from being where they want to be. But the bottom line is we can do something about it. We can fix it. But we have to be willing to work the how. H, we got to be honest with ourselves. We got to look in the mirror and say, hey, I don't like the person that I see. The person that I see here needs some work, needs to get better. The O, we have to be open to receive. When there's somebody like me trying to help us, we got to pay attention, we got to listen. And then W, we got to be willing to implement and try some of the things that people are giving us, especially people that we know have our best interests at heart. We have to be willing to listen to them. We have to be willing to try the things that they're asking us to try. Okay? So, when you ask yourself, what is preventing you from being great? I agree with you, Nathaniel. It shouldn't be anything, but yet and still, there's a lot of things that keep us from getting to that level of greatness. Okay? And we just got to remember that we don't have to let it keep preventing us. We can change, we can do better, and we can reach our level of greatness. Uh-oh.
Using the word yet, we removing all doubt. We see the problem as a challenge and not a crisis. We creating a growth mindset. You got it like this. You see, this idea of a growth mindset can also be called the power of yet. In other words, you're not there yet, but just trust me, you can definitely get there. Let's go. This is the